In this lesson on linear equations, we will learn how to write slope-intercept equations from standard equations. The reason why we want to write slope-intercept forms of the equation is that it's not easy to graph standard equations. Remember, standard equations are in the form of ax plus by equals c. It's not impossible to graph them, but it does take quite a bit more work. So we want to change these forms of the equation to slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. In order to change a standard equation to a slope-intercept equation, all we need to do is to solve the standard equation for y. Here's an example. Write 3x plus 2y equals negative 16 as an equation in the slope-intercept form. In other words, we want to rewrite that so that it's in the form of y equals mx plus b. So all we need to do is to solve for y. We take that equation. The very first thing that we want to do is to subtract 3x from both sides of the equation. The 3x on the left side will cancel out, and we'll be left with 2y equals negative 3x minus 16. Now we want to get rid of the 2. Since that's 2 times y, we want to do the opposite operation, which means divide by 2. So we'll divide 2y by 2. We'll take negative 3x, divide it by 2, and we'll take 16 and divide it by 2. When we do that, our equation is now written in the form of y equals mx plus b. Y equals negative 3 halves x minus 8. The negative 3 halves is the slope. The minus 8 or negative 8 would be the y-intercept. So if we were to graph this equation, we would just go to the negative 8 on the y-axis, and we would use the slope, which in this case is negative 3 halves. We would go down 3 units, and to the right 2 units, plot another point, and we should be able to draw our line. Let's do another example. Write x minus 5y equals 5 as an equation in slope-intercept form. Once again, we want to solve for y. So we'll start by subtracting x from both sides of the equation. When we're done with that, we're left with negative 5y equals negative x plus 5. Now we need to divide by negative 5 on both sides of the equation. When that simplifies, we get our answer of y equals 1/5 x minus 1. Negative 1 is the slope-intercept, and 1/5 is the slope. Negative 1 is the y-intercept, 1/5 is the slope. I found that when students are rewriting these slope-intercept equations, one of the largest, biggest, most popular mistakes they make is in organization. Trying to rush through and you forget to carry negative signs or change positive signs to negatives when they weren't supposed to be, or lose track of fractions and simplifying fractions. So the most important thing you can do to make sure that you minimize your mistakes is to be organized, neat and organized. So when you're doing these problems on the worksheets, you need to make sure you're using lined paper. Do the steps just as I've shown you in this video, and I think you'll find out that that will eliminate most of your errors. There are two special problems that we want to cover today, and they are problems in this form. In this equation example, it says write 3y equals negative 27 as an equation in slope-intercept form. Well, you say, well, how can you do that? There's no x. Well, you still solve for y. So you take 3y divided by 3, and negative 27 divided by 3, and that equation simplifies down to y equals negative 9. Again, there's no x, so you have zero slope, and when you have zero slope, that is a horizontal line. So if there's no x in an equation that you're asked to rewrite, you automatically know that that's a horizontal line. After you simplify the equation, that horizontal line will go through the point that you have, in this case, negative 9. The other equation that is similar to this one is an equation such as 2x equals 6. If you're asked to rewrite that in slope-intercept form, you'll notice that there's no y value, so you can't solve for y. But you still want to make sure that you simplify the equation. So in this case, we are going to divide both sides of the equation by 2, and that gives us an equation that's simplified to x equals 3. Now again, this is a special equation. The y equation is a horizontal line, and the x equation, when there is no y, is a vertical line. In this case, it's a vertical line that goes through x equals 3. So those are two special situations that you need to be aware of when you're asked to rewrite these equations.